Okay, hi there everybody. So this is probably going to appear to you out of thin air. I'm just going to do a wrap-up video here, hopefully to do relatively quickly from the Tinseltown Open. I'd like to make sure that this doesn't spoil anybody's surprise if you're watching it. If you have not seen the tournament videos and are planning to watch them, please look back into the feed. You will find all of the videos, and yeah, because I would rather not spoil it. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds here to stop the video, go back before I mention anything about the tournament itself or any of the updated standings. So alright, so here we go. So an interesting tournament. Of course, sometimes it feels like everything that when you say things in the speak of, let's say, a sportscaster, or that you say interesting when it's maybe not really all that interesting. This was pretty interesting. We got a playoff. I think it's been the longest playoff we've had so far here on the Tenacious Golf Tour. Sunset Canyon was pretty accessible. The weather was great, so it made scores probably a little lower than normal. But in the long run, it took 19 under par. Our lowest round of the day was 7 under. But eventually the two winners, they both shot 5 under for the day, 66. It's Greer Copeland III, Dave Simanowicz Jr. And Greer Copeland III, he birdied the 17th on the second playing of that hole in the playoff. So that's the fourth playoff hole. Actually, that's, yes, and so he won. So that was the case. Some up and down, but Copeland, he went 3 under on the final 5 holes to work his way back into a share of the lead. So whereas Stuart Ash, who had gotten to minus 19, he bogeyed a couple down the stretch, and so he would have had a chance. But let's take a look at the final standings. So be right back with that. I'm going to turn the camera around. It'll just take me a second. So be right back. Bear with me. Okay, so here we are. Here is the final scorecard, or scoreboard. And I'm going to go ahead and try to make things a little bit nicer because I have this zoomed in quite a bit. I hope it's coming through well. Greer Copeland III with a minus 19. He wins 1.26 million as the victor. Dave Simanowicz Jr. with a 265. He makes 756,000. Zephaniah Scott. I'll tell you what, this is just a bit too grainy. I'm going to see if I can move this a little closer. I think every little bit helps here, but I'm also okay. Okay, so as you said, Zephaniah Scott, who shot that 7 under par round, he ended up at minus 18. He fell 1 shot short. He did post a nice score, but Copeland and Simanowicz both could come over, you know. So Dustin Emmerich, who was a B+ rating, he ends up finishing at -16, along with Gail Honorado, who had a final round 67 -4, but just couldn't get too much going. And then we have Bob Demmelmeyer, who was a qualifier, so he will be qualified for the Rattlesnake, which is the next tournament. He qualifies for that by virtue of his top 10 finish, as does Heath Sommers, Kenji Morita both have their card. Tied for 10th, Enrique Magallanes and Gareth Leonard. And from there down, I'll just scroll down through if you want to see and find there's Gil Granbury, who kind of blew up there he had a 1-under round, but just couldn't get anything going. Yun Lee Song, Franz Hockel -11. I think that was the lowest finisher that we had from the playing it out there. So we'll just going to scroll down here with my finger. You can see where your guys finished. So there's where the cut was made, and then we have a bunch of guys here with 2-round scores, so you can see just how that plays out. Now, again, this is all based off of tournament ratings and some other little factors that I do, at least for the cut scores. For the other scores up above, it's a little more strictly based off tournament mode. And there is Rafael Meraz, who is injured till further notice, injured elbow. Okay, so that is that. We saw the tour points. We saw the winnings. We will now go over to the primary page. And I don't know which page will be the one that shows first. If it'll be the schedule, yes, it will. So that's good. So we already have that updated with Greer Copeland right here. This is not really made for the Kindle here, so as you can see, it's a little fuzzy. I'll tell you what I can do. I can take a box here, put it underneath. That should help a little bit. There we go. That helps some. Still a little fuzzy, but so as we said, the Rattlesnake, or the Copperhead. Whoops, I should be moving this. The Copperhead will be next, leading into the Masterful tournament. But there you go with that. So now we will go to the current money leaders. Whoa. There we go. Okay. So Magallanes, with $1.6 million in total earnings, is the money leader. Greer Copeland III, as that tournament, he has 2 top 10s, and he wins a tournament that's worth, got a $7 million purse. He jumps to number 2, Will Janis in third. Only playing 2 events, so he's made the most of his opportunities. He obviously has a tour card now. Gil Granbury, 1.1 is in 4th. Adam Trenchard in 5th. So Granbury is the only one there in the top 5 that doesn't have a victory. Then you got Sommers and Kawahara. Emmerich Simanowicz with his 2nd place finish gets his first top 10 and jumps into the top 10 of the money list. And then Nick Yarlett, also with only 1 top 10, but still there in the top 10 of the money list so far. And I guess Gareth Leonard, I guess he's finished in 4 tops. I'm gonna have to do a little digging. He probably has finished in 4 of them, but the 4 that he finished in, I think he probably finished in 10th in all of them. So I'm gonna have to. Well, let's see. Gareth Leonard, did he finish? Well, he was tied for 10th here, so I mean that could be very well be if he's won like 180,000 in each of these tournaments, or 150,000, then that kind of makes sense. The Tenacious Point total leaders, Magellanes also in top. So basically the same, except Trenchard is in third, Janus in fourth, Granbury in fifth. Pretty much the same faces. When we get to some majors, the point values will go up. The current scoring leaders, Emmerich actually has your, and that is not formatted correctly, but I'll fix that sometime. Emmerich at 68.95. Actually, he's basically tied with Gareth Leonard in that position. Minimum of 15 rounds. So basically my cutoff is that they play in, I think it's 75%. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. So, or thereabouts. I have to see. But I cut it off at a certain point because there's some guys that would have an unrealistic stroke value just by virtue of them not playing in many events. So I'll just go ahead. What I'll do is, let me go over back to the money leaders, and I will scroll down to see where your favorite player is at. Toshio Takai still hanging in there in the top 20. See if he can hang around there. He hasn't been making cuts, which is going to hurt his chances of being in that top 125, which will get them a card for next year. I'll just go down through here. I take it that Ziggy Juno has fallen a bit down the money list. Let's see where he is. He's at 92. He, yeah, I mean, he's a tour. He is on the tour, but he's played in 5 events, but he's kind of coming down the list as he hasn't made many cuts. I always bring him up because I know that there are a couple people, including Espo Strat, who like him. Mraz, he's going to be in trouble if his till further notice lasts for very long. At 125 currently, well, you've got a bunch of guys at 122. So you've got Heath, Pettibone, Hutton, Zeithofer, Henneman, and Santana. Those are mostly non-exempt players. So that's where it stands. I'm gonna call that good for now, as I've got stuff to do. So like I said, our next tournament. Well, hold on. I will be right back as I get set back up where this is turned around. So let me just repeat real quick. First off, this is the first tournament where I've used a different format. I've put the whole cards on the screen, and I'm hoping that the golfer cards were more visible. I'm going to keep toying with my setup. I also used relation to par. I made some custom cards that were thinner, that would be easier to manage. So if you could comment, let me know how you feel about that. But actually, you won't see this until Monday anyway, because this is Sunday night. Go Bills. Snowy victory over the Colts tonight. I'm recording this Sunday. But in any event, any comments about this format, anything that you could think of that might improve things, I will be all ears. I can't promise anything, but we try. And so I'm going to sign off now. Again, comment if you have comments. Appreciate you subscribing to the channel. You can get updates on all of our tabletop offerings, whether it's baseball, golf, eventually football, eventually basketball, yada, yada, yada. The sky's the limit. Also, we have a Facebook page, Tabletop Baseball Plus. People post lots of stuff about their projects on there and some other trivia tidbits, all kinds of things like that. Any tabletop game that you want to talk about, we'll try to bring it up and give you some discussion about that. So in any event, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel here for Tabletop Earl. This is Tenacious Earl bringing you Tenacious Golf Tour coverage. See you next time. Have a great week and enjoy your tabletop sports. We'll be back soon with some more mini tournaments and things like that, mini rounds and whatnot. So take care and have a good one.